कई बार क्या होता है ना, कुछ लोग तारीफ करते हैं अच्छी फिल्म थी, डायरेक्टर का नाम ही नहीं लेते इनिशियल फिल्म्स में। सो बोला कि अच्छा पढ़ाई तो मैंने यार नाम तो ले लो एक बार।
I had planned certain things, and whenever I did not follow my gut, I made a mistake and I reshot the scene.
Really?
Yes, I learned that, and because I need to follow my instinct and be this person who believes 100% in that.
The first edit was locked, and I remember Ayushmann came and saw the film, and he got up, he came out of the room, and he didn't speak to anybody. He just came, gave me a hug, and he said, "I'm proud of you."
Don't lie. Don't lie to your story. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to the people you pitch the story to. Don't lie to your producer. Don't lie to your HODs. Don't lie. Don't lie. Don't lie. Anvitaa, Jasmeet, Amar, Anirudh. First of all, I'm so thrilled to get the four of you together. And I'll tell you why. Because it's been such a middling year for Hindi cinema. And I feel like the four of you have made films that were original, that were inventive, that just sort of offered a ray of light, you know, that just made me feel like, damn, this is good, yeah, like we can do this, you know, it's not all about South humko kha jayenge aur ye kar jayenge aur wo kar jayenge, you know. So I just wanted to have a conversation with the four of you about what it was like to make these films, just stick to the artistic voice that you have nurtured. And I want to start with just picking out some of my favorite scenes from each of your films and asking you how you did it. And Amar, you're sitting in exactly the right place, because I want to start with you. Of course, the Bhediya responding to Tera Surur. That was just insane. You have to see it to believe it. Because, oh, yes. देखो, genius. It's genius. It's just genius. How did you think of that?
I have to watch this film.
I swear.
So it was basically when we wrote it actually, जब नीरन ने लिख के हम लोगों से बात किया ऐसे हमको रिएक्ट करवाना है, तो everyone in office, जो भी ADs and everyone was like कि ये कैसे होगा, कि मतलब आप कुछ तो कर रहे हैं, सीन ऐसा है कि दे आर लुकिंग फॉर भेड़िया चला गया अपने दोस्त को ढूंढ रहे हैं, एंड दे से कि यू जस्ट कॉल, वहां से आंसर देगा वो। तो बोथ ऑफ देम आर ट्राइंग वेरी हार्ड, कि ट्राई कर रहे हैं, एक गधे की तरह कर रहा है, एक सुअर की तरह कर, सॉरी एक डोंकी, एक पिग की तरह आवाज निकाल रहा है। नहीं आई कांट, यू नो,
I love donkeys. Okay, they're so pretty.
Yeah.
With the big eyes.
So उसमें कुछ होता है, उसका हाथ लगता है और वो तेरा सुरूर बजता है और वहां से आंसर आता है। एंड ये बेसिकली ये आया कैसे, ये मीम्स, दे वर मीम्स, समवन इज ऑन हारमोनियम, ही इज जस्ट डूइंग रियाज, एंड उसका पेट डॉग और उसके साथ रियाज कर रहा है, वो भी कर रहा है, ओ करके। मैंने कहा ये तो फैंटास्टिक सीन है, इसको किसी तरीके से लेके आते हैं इस फिल्म में।
तो मीम से आया
ऐसे।
Wow.
That's amazing. Have you heard from Himesh?
Not yet. I'm waiting actually.
But it's genius.
Yeah.
It's genius. Yeah, my God. It was fab. It was fab. Jasmeet, for Darlings, again, there's many things to appreciate in all your movies, so it's not like this was the highlight. But I'm just saying some of the things that really stayed with me was the scene where Zulfi, the Roshan Mathew character, actually declares his feelings for the Shefali Shah character, right? And the lines there are so perfect, because he says कि मुझे तो खाला cute लगती हैं, it's just fab. And then he says feelings permission के साथ थोड़ी आती हैं, which was so lovely and it meant so much. And I just wondered, and of course then there's the kiss where Khala says, you know what, I'm going to go for it, and kisses him as she steps out with her daughter looking at them. You know, why was it important for you? It's not a massive part of the narrative, but you made sure to give her that, you know, sort of desirability. Why was this important?
So because Shamshu, being Shamshu, has always lived her life as a mother and as a wife earlier, and it was always about two women who are dealing with violence in a different way, and she would have never thought of moving on. He actually made her feel like a woman again. From the beginning, I knew that Zulfi likes Qala and not Badru. It's not like it's something that came later on. But Zulfi, being Zulfi, would have never ever declared his love for her. because he thought it's impure or not the right thing to do, or maybe he will lose her forever. Because he and Qala actually are so comfortable with each other, they can talk about anything.
They're buddies.
So we wanted to push him into a corner of such fear that he just has to blurt it out. And once he blurts it out, he actually is very free again. Because otherwise he would never tell her. The kiss was questioned by so many people on paper, I can't tell you. Yes, and now everybody loves it. They said, firstly, is this younger boy, older woman thing, do you want to do it? Because, it has to be handled with a lot of sensitivity. And even when she kisses him, we wanted a laugh. But in her face, that she is fully taken by him. So there is a right balance, which Chef, I think, got right. But when she kisses him, people did laugh, saying that, okay, this is funny, because she did it to get out of a situation. But she was so happy doing it. And then the daughter seeing that, and being like, what the hell is going on? This is my life and we are in this mess, and what are you up to? And for the daughter to accept it later on, because we didn't want the daughter to accept it immediately. That actually came from a lot of feedback where they said, really, but older woman, younger guy, why? I said, no, there is, for men like Hamza, there are always men like Zulfi. If you don't show that, then you're taking a side. So that's why Zulfi exists. He's always serving tea in the end. And so you have to give, all men are not like Hamza, is what we were trying to do. So yeah.
Nice. And Zulfi is a good one.
Yes. For keeps.
Anirudh, for an action hero, loved the interaction between Ayushman's Manav and the superstar that Akshay Kumar is playing on that plane. Okay, I thought in like those few minutes, you just nailed so much about the Hindi film industry. Okay, from that last touch where Manav asks him to go out and sort of deflect the attention of the press so that he can kind of slink away from the sidelines. So this guy, the superstar, played by a superstar, takes his dark glasses and puts them on, because obviously he's not going to go out to talk to the press without shades on, right? What was it like to do that? And also the hypocrisy of, please, किसी को बताना मत कि हम दोनों मिले थे, because Manav is in so much trouble. So this guy's trying to be the Hamdard, but not really, right? Tell me about designing that scene and how hard was it to convince Akshay to do it?
It was actually the opposite of, we didn't have to convince him at all. We started, when we were writing the scene, so this film in general has been written by pure observation, keeping a layman sort of idea in mind. So we are at the luxury of, standing at the border. We are in the industry at the same time we're newcomers. So we got like the best of both worlds, So we wrote it with as much innocence as we could. We didn't think about it, we didn't try to overanalyze it or do anything like that. And I remember the day Akshay sir came on set in the morning. Anand sir introduced me to Akshay sir and he said, Aja, he took me to the van and he said, "Tu padna shuru kar, main meri line padta hu, tu Manav ki line pad." I started reading, and as soon as he got to his line, he laughed so hard. He started high-fiving me, and he's like, it didn't take any convincing or anything. He just said, chal, karte. And he just came on to set with us. So it was just such a we were actually very afraid that this might, we might not be able to pull this scene off, or we might not be able to shoot this. But it was the opposite. In fact, we had a backup scene ready in case this wouldn't work.
Really?
But
wouldn't work? Meaning during shoot?
In case there was some discomfort in anyone wanting to perform it.
Because he looks like too much of a callous person.
But as soon as I gave it to Akshay sir and he read the first line, he's like, "Nahi yaar, isme maza nahi aayega." He just took this and he walked in with us. So it was actually not what we expected at all. And I'm so glad this turned out that way.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And Anvita, in Qala, so much to look at, so much to take in, and one of the scenes that really stayed with me was the punishment scene. Where Qala makes a mistake during Riyaz, and the mom, and when she pushes her, you don't know where she's pushed her, and your first instinct is probably, so she's punishing her, the mother is punishing her. I thought, she's pushing her into a room and shutting her up in a room because that's the normal standard kind of punishment, but she actually pushes her out into the cold. And so this girl is now freezing and singing and trying to appease the mother. And it's almost literally like, if you make a mistake, you're out of my life. And that is so chilling, literally, metaphorically, in every way. How did that scene come to you? Because it also says some things about how devious your head is.
So, by the way, I used to call that scene the Rapunzel scene. So it's the counter. You're locked up in that tower with no access to the outside world. And if you notice, it's. I had fun doing stuff like, of course, Tripti's performed it. That fear in her eyes. Only when the mother stands up, and she does it so gently.
Yeah.
Urmila gets up, she keeps the tanpura down. She stands up. She says, "Tanpura niche rakho," and she's like, "I'll do it again." It's like, "Niche rakho." And she moves at the moment she reaches for, she doesn't do it violently, she just reaches for her daughter, but the daughter flinches. So that was just to establish the history of this girl gets hit. Only people who've been jaded in their childhood will flinch if someone raises their hand suddenly. Or in any abusive relationship, you will flinch.
As then darlings also, when Zulfi comes home, she just does this. Thinks
Yeah.
that
It's instinctive.
It's instinctive.
Yeah.
And gently is talking to her very sensibly, gently taking her out and leaving her out in the cold. Because it's exactly what you said. Because even when we were prepping, when we were doing, when I was working with Tripti on it, we always used doors as a metaphor, the shutting doors of her life. And every shutting door is a threat. It's like the threat of a husband telling a wife, मैं तुझे छोड़ के चला जाऊंगा. Is the mother saying, I will throw you out of the house. When you've not been enabled to handle the outside world, that threat of, which is why when it finally happens, it's like the end of the world for Qala. So I wanted it to feel like this is a regular punishment. This is something that happens very often, and that threat of being left and kamre mein band karna is not that scary, you're still safe. It has to be that where there's nothing outside to protect you, only what is inside that door, however frightening it might be, is the safer place. It might be the wolf in the grandmother's clothes, but it's a safer place than the forest outside.
Yeah.
So it's that was the feeling, and the heartbreaking thing of her just first saying sorry, and then her singing to her window.
To the window, to the bedroom window.
To the bedroom window.
Yeah.
I know it. Now you can let me in. Yeah.
Oh, very shattering. There's so much like this, and what makes these films so special, I think, is that they're not about one thing. Qala's not just about this mother and daughter. There's mental health, there's what the film industry does to women, there's the pursuit of art, and the price you pay to do that. Bhediya is the eco-fable. You've got this whole meta commentary on Bollywood and the circus of celebrity, and how quickly opinions turn underneath all the laughs. Same for Darlings. It's very funny, but there's such a serious sort of conversation there about toxic relationships, about abuse. Tell me about writing these films. How hard is it to weave? Because finally, you are all functioning in though now mainstream, thankfully, is a much more expanded area of Hindi cinema, but still you are trying to make popular cinema. So how do you kind of weave in things that are contentious, that are difficult, that are dark, into what's also going to be fun and beautiful? How have you done it? How challenging was that?
I feel when you tell any story, if for example you're telling a doctor story, of course there are so many layers around that particular character that will come in naturally. You will have the patients, you will have the doctor's family, you will have the patient's family, you will have the hospital staff, you'll have so many layers, and they're all equally important to that doctor's life. Similarly, if you pick a superstar, there are certain layers that are going to come in, and if you're afraid to talk about them, then maybe you shouldn't tell the story. The only way to do it is fearlessness. If you're going to talk about a superstar, then you have to talk about the media, you have to talk about the public, you have to talk about his or her colleagues, you have to talk about everything, otherwise it's not a complete sort of story, So I felt that yes, there were certain moments where we sort of, as we were in the process of writing, and as Neeraj was writing certain dialogues that were very hard hitting, but the idea of using humor was that, because humor is not it's the best tool to tell the truth. It is not offensive or hard hitting to your face, it gets into your subconscious. It goes straight inside. You feel it, but you feel it later. Because at that point you're busy laughing. So it is for me the best tool to use to tell the truth, and that's why we sort of took this approach, in trying to tell this story.
Yeah.
जैसे आपने बोला कि ह्यूमर से क्या होता है, आपको कान में नहीं लगता, ह्यूमर होता है मस्ती में निकल गया, एंड देन यू थिंक कि यार भूल गया, कुछ तो भूल गया,
आंवले की तरह,
आंवले की तरह थोड़ा टेस्ट
That is also that. Yeah.
Even
that is also that. I mean, because I was very conscious that we didn't want to preach, and even when the one line was there about a mother-daughter trying to fix the daughter's marriage, before I even wrote the story, I knew कि एक दिन ना बेटी के साथ कुछ हादसा होगा. Next morning she will come to her mother's house and mother will say अब क्या की तू. So that tone I knew from the beginning that we had to go for it. And then I just tried to follow my characters and like humanize everyone, even Hamza. Humanizing Hamza was challenging because he is a wife beater. He is very manipulative and controlling. But I spoke to so many women across strata, and there are some women, who said, yeah, he manipulated me, but I'm really pissed off and all of that. I said, delete his number. She said, no, when he does it again, I might go back. It is scary, and so they are not dumb. I mean, what I'm saying is they're not delusional as we would think they are. They are giving the men a chance. So Badru had to be that person who gives her man a chance. And why are they there? And why are they doing what they are doing? Why are they still loving the men that way? Why do they need for them to change? Why do they think it's a disease? Why do men like Hamza grow up like that? I think because they grew up in violence and nobody questions it. Like I met my friend's mom, like her father was an alcoholic. Her mother was okay with it. He used to beat her up. She said, but he's like that. Her love was unconditional for him from where she came. And these are like South Indian, very, very well educated family. It's not like they didn't have a choice or family. So, but while you know all of this, you try and, of course, you don't want to preach, you don't want to lecture anyone, and you just want to tell a very, very dark comedy. And I think what makes films different is when you don't follow a structure. You let your characters lead you.
Yeah.
In my case, it's not humor. Sadly, it is very sad, my film. But yes, aesthetics. The beauty part of it is for me. So aesthetics is a default setting. Meenal, me, Siddharth, we are aesthetes. We're naturally drawn. We have a good aesthetic sense. Don't mean to sound arrogant, it just is. However, what I feel is that, weapons are really beautiful to look at. So things that hurt you, like whether it's swords and knives and guns, they're beautifully designed, they're works of art. So it's like if I'm going to slice you and make you bleed, I'll do it, I will do it beautifully. So you feel it even more and you won't expect it to hurt as much, but then it does. And it frightens you even more because it is just, you didn't see it coming. You just saw the glint, the gleam, you heard the sound, and then before you know it, you're bleeding, So I like to do that. The aesthetics of the time, the period, it adds to that because also, I don't know, we've all had those times or days or months or years in our lives when things have not been okay, or we hear of terrible news or something, or we lose someone we love. वो सिर्फ फिल्मों में होता है कि उस वक्त बारिश हो रही होती है. Actually बहुत सुंदर दिन होता है उस दिन. धूप निकली होती है. It's really, really pretty. And I want to do that. धूप निकली हुई है, but something terrible is going on. So,
these are, of course, for the two of you, your first films. Anvitaa, your second, your third. So you're the elder statesman.
I can't believe it's my second film. I'm so excited.
But I wish इतना अच्छा बोल सकूं मैं. क्या बोलते हो आप? मतलब मैं खो गया था.
So sweet.
भैया लिखती है ना, lyricist है.
Lyricist.
He said मैं भी लिखता हूँ लेकिन मैं नो राइट नाउ. Okay.
मैं लिखा.
Even better.
No, but tell me about retaining that voice. You talked about making it your own, right? Now, when you're making your first films, you're suggesting unusual things, or your second, or even your third, and even with the success that you've had, Amar, it's not easy to sell a Bhediya ki kahani. कि हमारा एक बहुत बड़ा स्टार वरुण धवन भेड़िया बन जाएगा. You know, how do you guys, how have you held on to that artistic voice, and what makes you all original, and how do you hope to continue to do it? Because it's not getting to be like, the business is not going to change, you know.
वरुण धवन भेड़िया बन जाएगा या स्त्री में वो उसको उठा के ले जाएगी या आयुष्मान के साथ बाला में उसके साथ बाल नहीं होंगे. मुझे लगता है ये सब कहानियाँ जब मैं एज अ छोटा था तो मुझे जुनून देख के बहुत एक्साइट हुआ था, यू नो, कि वो बन रहा है एंड आई वाज वेरी एक्साइटेड कि वाओ ऐसा भी हो सकता है. एंड सडनली इस बार मुझे चांस जब मिला तो मैं पूरा उसमें पूरा फुल ऑन घुस गया कि मतलब कि बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग कहानी, अपने में कहानी है. लगे कि सोचो मेरा दोस्त है बगल में बैठा है और शाम को रात में भेड़िया बन जाता है. मतलब ये अपने में ही कुछ अलग है. तो मुझे लगा कि कहानी वैसी होनी चाहिए जो आपको एज अ फिल्म मेकर भी एक्साइट करे कि आपने नहीं किया, आप भी एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हो उसको, यू नो. एंड फिल्म में एक सीन है जहाँ पे उसको खाने के लिए आ रहा है, बोल रहा है मुझे मत खा, इसको खा तू, मैं तो हम दोनों तो परिवार वाले हैं, ये बाहर वाला है, यू नो. सो ऑल दोस थिंग जब हम लोग मैं और नीरेन लिख रहे तो हम लोग खुद भी हंस रहे थे, हम लोग खुद भी बोल रहे थे यार. एंड देयर इज अ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हैपनिंग कि तू हम तो भाई भाई हैं, उसको खाना. तो वो सब मजा जो आता है ना लिखते वक्त, मैं क्या बोलूं कि ये ओरिजिनल थॉट जब आते हैं और आप जब सक्सीड होते हो वो करने में तो अलग मजा आता है. और इससे पहले मुझे बोला कि वेयरवुल्फ फिल्म्स बहुत सारी हैं, देख लेते हैं. तो मैंने टीम से निकलवाई कि सारी निकालो. फिर मैंने एक देखी कुछ ट्वाइलाइट, एक्चुअली मैंने नहीं देखी थी ट्वाइलाइट. तो मैंने एक सीन देखा, मैंने कहा नहीं यार मुझे ना, फिर मैं नहीं चाह के भी वैसे ही शूट करूंगा, वैसे ही मेरे सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में होगा. तो नीरेन तुम देख लो, अगर कोई सिमिलैरिटी है तो वो मत करना, बट मुझे मत दिखाओ, अदरवाइज मैं शॉट टेकिंग ये वो सब कुछ बहुत सिमिलर हो जाएगा. तो मैंने कुछ देखा ही नहीं था. तो उसमें क्या होता है, ओरिजिनल थॉट जब आता है एंड जब आप देखते हो तो एक मजा बहुत आता है. मुझे तो बहुत आता है कि जो देखा हुआ है वो क्यों देखें. अभी किसी का अगर मतलब मर्डर करना है तो हमने फिल्म में ही देखा है, एक्चुअल में देखा नहीं है, तो हम फिल्म से ही कॉपी करेंगे, अच्छा ऐसे होता है, ऐसे करता है, ये होता है. एंड सोचो क्या हो, वो दौड़ रहा है, खून निकल गया, मैं खून मार दिया ऐसे करके यू मेकिंग फन आउट ऑफ इट, यू डिस्कवर समथिंग एल्स. तो मुझे लगता है कि उसका जो ओरिजिनलिटी का जो मजा है ना, जब तक आप ओरिजिनल हो, जब तक आपकी फिल्म, आप 3 फिल्म बना के 4 फिल्म 5-6 फिल्म के बाद मैं ही अपने आप को कॉपी करने लगूंगा.
As he said, when it's original and it's funny, it's a different high. Of course, you have to pull it off as a director too, which is a hard balance with dark comedy. But yeah, I think it's fun, and I think when you don't stick to your voice and you at least on set, I felt that I had planned certain things, and wherever I did not follow my gut, I made a mistake and I reshot the scene.
Really?
Yes, I learned that, and because I need to follow my instinct and be this person who believes 100% in that, the way I want to shoot it, or I wanted to the dialogues to be said, or I used to block a lot of, I used to stage a lot of scenes, and of course actors could improvise whenever they wanted to, but yeah, I learned that.
And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work on set. कि आपने लिखा है, when you were reading, you're laughing, but the way the actor is performing,
then
you have to like twist it. कि भाई मेरा scene.
Because because you know you have to just say these dialogues.
Yeah.
You can't crack. You're not cracking a joke.
That's
None of them
right.
are cracking a joke.
That's
and
right.
but it has to still land.
Yeah. Do you agree that in your cases, when you made these films, when you didn't follow instinct, it didn't go right?
No, so I want to just talk about the fact about the voice and all that. I think all of us are just telling the stories the best we know how.
Yes.
You know, so that's what we are doing. But
She'll articulate it for us, okay?
Yeah,
हमने
yeah.
बोला है ना, वो अच्छे से बोल के बताएगी कैसे.
Summary करके.
I think all answers we'll discuss in your ears and
अभी ये बोलना ही पूरे positive.
But for me, the custodian of that voice is not really me, because it's all very well for me to think it and to write it like that and to imagine it like that or direct my actors or visualize it. But I have my DOP and my production designer on ground level protecting that voice. And the very fact that I have a producer who greenlights these stories, who knows this is who she is, this is how she thinks. In her world, moonlight is red. In her world, stuff happens like this. In her world, it snows inside a room, and you know, and he's fine with it, and he protects it, and he gives me the resources to make it. I think for all of us, that is the biggest thing, that it's the voice is being heard, because there are people who are allowing us, because I wrote Bulbul in 2012, Qala in 2013. There were many people who have said no to me. Till I got a producer who said yes to me, and how. And I'll be, in 2 months, I'll be 51. And now I'm getting to tell the stories that now it's a new voice.
Yeah.
But it's been there, it's been standing, there's this tower, like Rapunzel, like that voice has been standing, holding the bars and screaming for a very long time. It's just that now it's being heard.
Yeah.
Super.
No, that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Again, producers.
Anirudh, you were going to add?
No,
Yes.
I was just actually, just to add to that, I feel that no two voices can be similar. That's the beauty of having a voice. If you and I are in a situation and we come back to tell that story, we could be in the same room facing the same thing, but we'll both tell it very differently.
And you might tell it differently after 5 years too. The
Exactly.
same story. Yeah.
So I feel that, but in spite of all of this, I think it's very important for us to have a brave producer.
Yeah.
Someone who's willing to listen to your story and tell you to your face that this is bizarre, but let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That's true.
that's what was
They're
told to me. This is
enabling you, yeah.
bizarre. Okay, fine, let's do it. There was no
That's so
second doubt, and that gives me so much confidence to be able to today I feel proud only for the fact that I could tell what I wanted to tell. That was enough. Everything else is secondary. Like just the fact that I live in a free country, one. Two, I have a producer who's pushing me to tell me to tell whatever stories I want to tell. I just hope that this is because to have such voices, you need such producers, you need such people to back.
Yeah. Same with
To make the film you want to make.
Yeah. In Bhediya, last 15 minutes, there's no actors. Last 12-13 minutes. Suddenly, your actor disappears from the film, and film is about these two wolves, and they are fighting. Like a hero, he comes and that was when I told it to Dinu, and Dinu was like, will you pull it off? That feeling will come, then I'm okay with it. मैंने कहा मैं try करता हूँ, let me see. And when he saw it, उन्होंने बोला, this is the best thing you have done. So sometimes producer backing you with all those.
It's all the confidence you need.
all those
Yeah, because
things
you
which
know
are
your
right.
vision. They can only back you.
Yeah,
they can only have faith.
Yeah, मैं अगर बोलूँ कि किसी एक्टर को भाई तुम नहीं हो, तुम खत्म हो, तुम अभी हो, लेकिन तुम अपने रूप में नहीं हो, भेड़िए रूप में हो, और तुम फाइट कर रहे हो एज अ हीरो, छत के ऊपर से आए हो, वो बंधी हुई है,
तुम हो बट तुम नहीं हो.
And then all those things, and then you're going alone, जहाँ पे तुम उसको लेके गए थे पहले, जब ह्यूमन फॉर्म में थे. So all those things मुझे लगता है पोइटिक है, बट येट प्रोड्यूसर के लिए कभी-कभी होता है कि ये कहाँ है. इवन वरुण, मतलब वरुण ने भी हाँ बोला, मैं उस पे भी सरप्राइज था कि वरुण ने ये भी नहीं बोला कि मैं ऊपर क्लिफ पे जाके कैन आई टर्न इनटू अ ह्यूमन, उसने कुछ नहीं बोला. So all those
to
things.
the actors also,
That's
For the actors.
Actually, that's a key thing.
Yeah.
Actors have
Very
to
secure,
enable you.
Yeah.
Like for Alia also, I mean, first of all, she came on board first as
That's
an
right,
actor.
she's your producer as
she's
well.
my producer as well. We, as me and Rachalis went to her and she came on. But she, I mean, there are three other actors in the film and the 3 other characters in the film, and she went along with the film.
Yeah.
It was not her role versus, or there was no such conversation or discussion, which is great.
Yeah.
It's like
You understand the story. Yeah.
it's like there's a shot in my film. It's barely there for seconds that she's out in the snow and a spotlight comes on, right? It's a movie beam. It takes up a truck. It's a huge light, and it traveled all the way to Kashmir for it to come in a truck. Uske grips alag, matlab to rig it up to that height so that the shape of the spotlight comes. So it was just becoming insane, the cost of that one light for one shot. It's 1.5 shot because you go low and you see the mic.
Right.
And so somebody was actually sitting as a production was like, ki, matlab, this is just throwing the budget out of gear. It's just ridiculous. तो ये निकाल दो, क्या है, पेपर पे भी तो कुछ नहीं है, 2 लाइन का सीन. So they said इसको हटा दो. So I was listening quietly and Karnesh just said, तो फिर हम ये पिक्चर क्यों बना रहे?
Wow.
Awesome.
And at which point in time, what I did, I through the shoot, I kept doing it धीरे करके as much as I could. But we had a 42 days schedule. I finished the film in 37 because what I was like is I have to make up for what he's giving me.
Yeah.
I know what he's giving me. He just said it, and it was so it was like a throwaway line. फिर हमें picture क्यों बना रहे? If you're not going to do the things that she thinks of, then why are we making?
What's the
this
point?
film?
Yeah.
So then that's what
You can say he helps him get into character.
As a producer, see what happened in last 5-6 years. No? Producer has changed.
Yeah.
Directors always wanted to tell these kind of story, but क्या होता था उनको रोक दिया जाता था, आप नहीं बोल सकते.
ये चल नहीं रहा,
ये नहीं हो रहा, वो नहीं हो रहा. अभी producers ऐसे हो गए.
Really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
How exciting.
Yeah.
It's very exciting because I remember because for the last 10 years I've been hearing it every time I gave somebody the script of Bulbul or Qala or whichever one I'd written that year, and I would always hear, "It's great, it's very interesting. कुछ Queen जैसा करना." I said, "But that's not my film. तूने तो लिखी है." I said, "But that's not who I am. That is not what I want to make." And I was like, because I never set out to become a director, I was like, it's fine. I like to write stories. मैं खुद के लिए लिख लूँगी. It's okay. I shall collect. There's a cabinet which has many scripts. I shall collect these scripts. It's okay. But I will not make something else because
Yeah.
I want to direct.
मुझे लगता है कॉन्फिडेंस शायद OTT की वजह से भी आया है. I think so.
A lot has
Yeah,
changed
this
because
confidence,
of that.
क्योंकि theatrical का recognition is
Yes.
always, you know, box office
The risk
कितना
is
हुआ,
different,
उससे
yeah.
आपको
It's calculated.
जज किया जाता है.
Yeah.
ना OTT में क्या है कि आप कंटेंट ऐसा दे रहे हो एंड वो जो रिकग्निशन मिलता है वो आपको सिर्फ व्यूइंग से मिलता है, you know.
Yeah.
So I think because of OTT, producers have become more aggressive.
And they're no longer telling you, okay, cast so and so, or or make this kind of music,
Yeah.
or whatever. None of that is in play. What is there? Whatever serving the story is being done.
I think I think four of us have the best producers.
Yeah,
We are the best.
that's why we are sitting with Anupam.
Even when I went to Gaurav from Red Chillies, that's true. I mean, who's going to be the actor? He said let's go to Alia, and we went to Alia, and
How lovely.
it's a long shot, and we all know it, but it just worked out.
But you take it, no?
Yes, of course.
That's the magic of this
That's the
business.
magic of this.
Yeah,
Mine was ulta. I want a new girl. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
So it was just like,
It's so fantastic.
So
It's
great.
just fantastic. And it's so heartening for somebody like me to hear. You know, because like as a viewer, as a critic, you just become so desperate for original stuff, for interesting stuff, for stuff that just makes you sit back and say, wow, yeah, wasn't expecting this. I mean, those last 15 minutes, I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
that risk taking at all.
Yeah.
That you just have like that amount of time and no worry.
Yeah, no worry.
But I have to come to the post-credit sequence.
Yeah.
Where we are now in the process of creating the Amar Kaushik universe, where Stree will meet with Bhediya, will meet with
Yeah.
God knows who. What are you going to tell us?
See, yeah. मेरी फिल्म में जो डायलॉग है ना हॉरर कॉमेडी वो स्त्री से आया था सब ना आफ्टर स्त्री ना
और
बिकॉज आई वाज राइटिंग एवरीबॉडी इज सेइंग हॉरर कॉमेडी कुछ लगाते हैं
बट मैं
तो सब बना रहे थे।
मुझे ना भेड़िया हॉरर कॉमेडी मुझे बोला ही नहीं मैंने कभी कि हम हॉरर कॉमेडी बनाए. दिस इज नॉट अ हॉरर, दिस इज अ क्रीचर कॉमेडी. और
Creature comedy.
you can
It's a
say
creature comedy,
because
that's
हॉरर इज व्हाट, हॉरर भूत से डर लगता है. जानवर से हमको वैसा डर नहीं लगता, हमको खा जाएगा वैसा वाला है.
Right.
और भूत से आपका है कि उठा के फेंक दिया, गर्दन तोड़
Unknown,
दी,
हाँ,
यू नो
unknown.
that fear of anticipation कि कुछ तो है, कुछ होगा उधर. So this is not a horror comedy first of all, but obviously actually मैं तो बाला भी डालना चाहता था इसमें. तो मुझे नहीं, in the last scene, that climax scene,
लेट्स भेड़िया
हाँ आपने देखा नहीं लेकिन उसमें जो टीवी चल रहा है उसमें बाला का सीन मेरा पति गंजा है, दैट सीन इज. सो मुझे ना मेरे अपने कैरेक्टर से इतना प्यार है कि उनको छोड़ने का मन नहीं करता.
Right.
सो जो बना है मेरा विक्की, बिट्टू, जना, मैं जना को इधर लेके आ गया, चल तू इधर आ जा. अपने आप यूनिवर्स बन रहा है, यू नो दैट. जिन्हों ने एक बार बोला था कि यूनिवर्स बनाएंगे करके, बट समहाउ ऑर्गेनिकली आ रहा है. यू नो आई वांटेड जेडी इन दिस, जना इन दिस, बट मैंने सोचा यार जेडी करके आएगा, मुझे ये तो लेना ही है. तो व्हाट इफ इसी को अभिषेक बैनर्जी को विल ब्रिंग हिम हियर बिकॉज उसको वहाँ दौरे पड़ते थे, उसकी माँ ने उसको भेज दिया. ये बात नहीं आएगा ना जब पिक्चर देख लेंगे सब. तो ये इधर आया अपने दोस्त के पास, मौसा के पास, मामा के बेटे के पास, एंड अब इसकी कहानी चल रही है, ये है हमारा सेंटर कैरेक्टर, बीच बीच में बोलता भी है मुझे दौरे पड़ते हैं, मेरे 2 दोस्त हैं, मेरे ये है, एंड ही इज वेयरिंग द सेम क्लोथ्स जो स्त्री में, हाँ जो सेम क्लोथ्स, मतलब माय डॉटर कॉट इट कि पापा ये तो सेम स्त्री वाले कपड़े पहने हैं। मैंने कहा अरे तूने किसी ने और नहीं देखा, क्योंकि स्त्री बहुत देखी। So I try to bring those characters in it, and I in the initial draft he was like बता दिया था कि इंटरवल के बाद कि he is जनार्दन अपना जना है। तो हमने मुझे लगा यार नहीं, फिर अपनी फिल्म भेड़िया में फिर लोग फिर उससे कंपेयर करेंगे, तब भी कंपेयर ही कर रहे हैं कि स्त्री वाज बेटर, ये ऐसी वो ऐसी ये ऐसी, सो बट दोनों अलग सुनते, तो हमने सोचा चलो इसको लास्ट में लेके आते हैं,
That is scary, yeah.
This is
better. That happens.
हाँ, मतलब आपकी पहली फिल्म वो था, सेकंड फिल्म में आप हो गए, तीसरी फिल्म आप ये, तो मैं बोलता हूँ हर फिल्म अलग है ना। अभी मैं स्त्री 2 जब बनाने चलूंगा, नहीं वो अच्छी थी, डेफिनेटली वो तो पता ही है मुझे, वो होना ही है, मतलब वो चाहे मैं अपने जान लगा दूं, मैं उल्टा लटक जाऊं, कुछ कर दूं, बट लोगों को लगेगा वो बेटर है। क्योंकि क्या होता है ना कि जब मैंने 1-2 बार और भी बोला, सेम फिर बोलता हूँ कि जब चाट खाते हो ना आप, कहीं पे डिस्कवर करते हो समथिंग, कुछ आप डिस्कवर करते हो, तो पहली बार बहुत अच्छी लगती है, दोबारा बोलते हैं यार वाली आज इतना मजा नहीं है, पहले वाली में बहुत मजा आता है। तो ये ह्यूमन वो है, ह्यूमन नेचर। बट एज अ फिल्म मेकर आई एम ट्राइंग माई बेस्ट टू गिव माई 100% मोर एक्चुअली इन द आने वाली फिल्म में। यार ये पहली फिल्म बाई फ्लूक तो नहीं हो गई, सेकंड फिल्म में फिर से तुक्का लग, ऐसा बोलते हैं ना सब, बाई फ्लूक है, मुझे बहुत डर नहीं बट वो डर होता है, हाँ आपके आसपास वाले बोल देते हैं,
you feel empty also
कि सडनली मतलब हाँ कुछ लोग तारीफ करते हैं, नहीं कई बार क्या होता है ना, कुछ लोग तारीफ करते हैं अच्छी फिल्म थी, डायरेक्टर का नाम ही नहीं लेते इनिशियल फिल्म्स में, सब बोलते कि अच्छा पढ़ाई तो मैंने यार नाम तो ले लो एक बार, उसमें किसने इतना अच्छा परफॉर्म किया, इतना अच्छा लिखा, ये हुआ वो यार मैंने भी किया है थोड़ा बहुत, सो वो वाला होता है कि बाई फ्लूक चल दूसरी फिल्म में दिखाता हूँ, वो अगर तीसरी में वैसा होता है कि नहीं इसमें तुमको असलियत पता चलेगी। So there are so many things.
Correct. The true genius will be revealed or not in the third. Jasmeet, tell me what is happening with your Sahir Ludhianvi Amrita Dutt.
Yes,
that is a film I am
waiting for. Yeah,
we all are waiting. I think from Ghanchakkar time, the AD,
that's the film I was trying to make first, and then Darlings happened. I have written, that script is there, and I'm writing something new. Let's see which one gets made first.
I think वो वाली बन रही है, I'm sure. Sahir Ludhianvi वाली. She's not saying it. But yeah, that is going to. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I think so.
So either that or there's something I've written.
Breaking
so let's
news.
see. One of the
breaking news, huh? You're revealing it, and she's not. She's being very quiet. Yeah, that's my headline.
But I will make it at some point.
You
obviously,
must.
You
obviously,
have
yes,
to.
of course.
You must. Yeah, I mean, just the idea of it is so sexy.
Yes.
I heard it from everybody. सबने पढ़ ली है, मतलब और लोगों ने पढ़ी है, कास्टिंग वालों ने, क्या फिल्म है सर, ऐसा दिल टूट गया था, इतना प्यारी कहानी है, किसी और ने बोला ये इतनी सुन चुका हूँ ना मैं वो,
I want to so much about that film.
I will make it, and hopefully
next
they'll say the same things after watching.
So tell me, guys, what is the one thing, since you've all now gone through the gauntlet, made your films, had the success, what is the one thing you tell aspiring new directors to not do? Jasmeet, let's start with you.
Not to.
Yeah.
Don't go against your voice or your instinct. I think just protect your film. Say the story the way you want to say it.
I feel hopefully you're all assisting. I mean, they're all assisting by now. So the only thing I would like to tell them is stop calling yourself ADs. I feel it's a very self-derogatory term. You should call yourself assistant directors. It's more, you hear yourself. When you hear yourself.
The word director.
You both were that guys. मतलब you also assisted.
Yeah. So when you hear assistant director a lot, it just somehow you take yourself a little more seriously. And I feel there are dreams and there are goals. I think you should work on goals more than dreams, because dream is only one. Like it'll eventually happen. And by the time you achieve your dream, you will not be the person you are today, because from now till the day you get to your dream, there's so many things you go through that you change as a person. So I feel that you should work on your goals, like your daily goals, the little things. I feel I don't see people do that. I don't see people writing stories. I don't see assistants
I write every
think
day.
about
I write almost every day. I mean, there
Even
are
I
days where
write.
I'm reading, but I
It's very,
actually wake up
it's
and
very
write.
important
Even I
that you
write.
know what stories you want
You
to
don't
tell.
need
Even when you're assisting, you know that there are 4-5 years left for you to now make a film. You know when you start out, you know how much time is left. Pretty much, you know the ballpark. If you're not working towards that day every single day, then you're doing something wrong, and that dream keeps going further and further and further away. So yeah, that's pretty much. I think you should start by calling yourself assistant directors and not ADs. That's something I tell everybody.
Nice. Anvita?
Don't lie. Don't lie to your story, don't lie to yourself, don't lie to the people you pitch the story to, don't lie to your producer, don't lie to your HODs, don't lie. Don't lie.
Be honest.
Just be authentic and honest, and as much as you can, just be authentic and honest to yourself first of all, then the story that you're writing, to the people that you work with, just be honest. And बाकी सब हो जाता है, बाकी सब incidental है.
So to
You're senior most now.
No, you're senior most, we're all listening to
Don't be like them.
First of all, please don't remake. Please.
नहीं
I'm
करेंगे.
trying, मतलब जितने भी न्यू
Only he could have said that.
हाँ. Yeah, I can.
But that now because he's made 3 now.
I can.
One in
Yeah.
नहीं रीमेक बहुत आते थे हॉरर कॉमेडी बनाने
है ना?
सर वो एक हॉरर कोरियन हॉरर कॉमेडी देख लो
हाँ.
एंड यू मतलब आपको मजा आता है आपको देख के कि क्या फिल्म है यार ये तो बनानी चाहिए बट आप बेस्ट देख रहे हो आप उसका यू कांट
हाँ पर बन चुकी है.
Sometimes लगता है कि क्यों बनाना है इसका remake?
हाँ, नहीं,
Like it's
क्यों
such a
बना-
good
Yeah,
film,
yeah, yeah.
guys. Yeah,
एंड
yeah.
अगर आपको लगता है कि थोड़ी खराब है आप उसको अच्छा कर सकते देन ओनली यू try to attempt it otherwise
Or if
please
you
don't
spin it
remake.
around.
Yeah, spin it around.
Yeah.
Don't remake and also as an assistant directors के लिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ जो aspiring filmmakers हैं don't criticize too much. Sometimes what happens ना
I agree, yeah.
Really?
People
they
are so
criticize
interesting.
everything.
हाँ.
They मतलब क्या होता है कि sometimes ना if you're criticizing few things ना वो उनको लगता है कि मैं अलग हो जाता हूँ and they always think कि director से उनको अच्छा आता है most of the times.
Yeah.
सारे आते कितने शॉट ले रहा है यार ये मतलब you can
मैं
hear
बोला
those
था,
voices
यहाँ से
हाँ ये ऐसे लो खत्म हो गया कितना कर रहा है इसमें ना अंदर you overthink sometimes
Yeah, एक ही shot ले रहा है बस.
एक ही ले रहा है इसमें कटेगा कैसे
कटेगा.
you know so don't over criticize just enjoy this process we are in this field just to enjoy
Yeah, it's a
You know,
joyful thing.
ये किसको मिलता है
Yeah, correct.
हमको मिल रहा है करने को मिल रहा है सेट पे जाते हैं मजे करते हैं फिल्म बनाते हैं लोग देखते हैं तारीफ करते हैं बुराई करते हैं जो करते हैं बट आप कर रहे हो ना करो ना उसको खेलो उसको जस्ट प्ले
Okay, one last question. What's the biggest compliment, or not even the biggest, but what's the one compliment you got after each one of your films that really stayed with you? Like the one line that touched your heart?
Think. Touched.
I
looking at you.
remember. Actually, the first edit was locked, and I remember Ayushman came and saw the film, and he got up, he came out of the room, and he didn't speak to anybody. He just came, gave me a hug, and he said, "I'm proud of you." That was, I felt, the kind of validation that you weren't looking for at that time because you're thinking about too many things. But when you get it, I just let myself go. Like, while we were hugging, I just let myself go. So that I felt was a very special day. I didn't. You don't expect that. You're thinking about too many bigger things. You know how the film will do, what people will say. You don't realize that the one guy who's put faith in you. It was just about that. It's on some level, you know, that for him to come to you and say that I'm proud of what you've done. That was it for me, you know. And then things started changing. The confidence in me came back. You know, I started feeling much better about the process. So that one thing I'll always remember.
Nice.
It's very on, you know, the subject of our film. It's been, every reaction has been very, very emotional. But I think it was, for me, it was when we wrapped the shoot, and we were all like just laughing, and so everybody was there. Meenal was there, Siddharth was there, my actors were there. We just like sitting on the steps of that pond that we shot at. I was sitting over there, and they all looked at me and almost simultaneously said, "What's next?"
Oh,
So good.
And that I felt was the best thing that I could have
How
heard.
sweet. Nice.
that's so lovely.
That they all just wanted to
Yeah.
cub or consi or kya. You know, so that felt amazing.
How nice.
That felt amazing.
Remember. I'm thinking.
She's still thinking.
Yeah.
Lots of wonderful things.
Yeah.
So one thing, मतलब ऐसे one thing I can't, but all the tweets of normal people were not blue
Yeah.
tick.
हाँ.
You know, blue tick तो ठीक है.
हाँ.
They know you somehow, but the people जिनका blue tick नहीं है, and they are praising you and they are saying कि भाई you are changing Bollywood और you are changing हिंदी सिनेमा, हम लोग को साउथ से थोड़ा सा चलो हम लोग का सीना चौड़ा हुआ. All those things एक वो देता है कि यार what you are trying to do वो लोग को समझ में आ रहा है and they are praising you. But I think one thing which is like बहुत ज़्यादा मुझे पसंद आई, मेरी बेटी ने बोला पापा मुझे ना दूसरी बार भी आपकी फिल्म बहुत अच्छी लगी. 9 साल की है and the way she said, मैंने कहा अच्छा मतलब and she is very critic. मतलब वो जब मैं भेड़िया बन रहा था मेरा तो मैं उसको दिखाता रुहानी देखो ये भेड़िया सही लग रहा है क्या, पापा ये तो एकदम अजीब सा लग रहा है, इसकी पूंछ ऐसे नहीं हिलती डॉग्स की. वी हैव अ डॉग, सो डॉग्स की पूंछ ऐसे ही होती है, जब गुस्से होते हैं तो ऐसी होती है. एंड आई वाज लाइक वाओ शी इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑल दोस थिंग्स. सो मैंने कहा अच्छा हाँ, तो द वे शी प्रेजेस मी आई थिंक मजा आया सुन के.
It was nice that blue tick, and yeah, even I got a lot of messages from regular audience people, which was nice. And I think one nice thing that happened is people started talking about with the names of the characters without naming the film, which I thought I was very very touched because I didn't realize it could happen. I never thought about this, and they would just randomly say Shamshu or Zulfi or even the names or even in regular conversations. So I thought that was something where they would just say Badru and Shamshu and Hamza and without naming the film or context. So I thought that was nice.
It's so lovely.
Yes.
And the amount of people saying, this is, how did you know this is my life?
Yeah.
That, I know, it's
terrifying.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
But it also like someone, and they all said that I felt seen, I felt received, I felt understood. You know, that, when you hear that, that's why I said it's that kind of a film, those kind of responses.
You know, when I got these messages that cop station scene, so many women have told me that this is exactly what happened to us.
Yeah.
Sorry,
you know, when
you
Hamza
didn't
hits his
answer.
head on the
You
pillow,
didn't answer.
Yeah.
I did.
it is fictional.
Yeah.
But they said this happened to us.
Which was cut you and talked over you.
Yeah.
Like terrible.
Yeah. My mates saw the film. My mates, 2 of them, I made them watch it at home, and they said, and they were laughing. I mean, this is a picture. Hai.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is what they go through, and they had humor around it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So all this feels very nice.
Listen, I'm just saying, फिर next क्या है? Exactly your line, right? You know, please. Now let's not take too long. Let's get out to the battlefield quickly and create so that we have things to watch.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
Really, thank you
you.
so much and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.